So, on the thumbnail, Daniel Penny. A lot of people are talking mad crazy talk about Danny Penny. And I'll tell you guys this. Daniel Penny did exactly what Daniel Penny swore to do when he was an enlisted man in the Marine Corps. Protect people that can't protect themselves. You have an erratic, crazy person on a subway yelling at people saying, I'm going to kill you. I don't care if I go to prison. Somebody's dying today. That is a valid threat. Daniel put him into a chokehold. There was a tussle on the train or whatnot. And, basically what there is there's two types of chokeholds you're taught. There's the full blood choke and air choke. Normally what it is air choke. As soon as they pass out, you let go. But here's the thing. They were scuffling on a train. Shifting's going to happen. Shifting's going to move around. If somebody's a threat, you're going to continue to hold on to them. Daniel Penny was not out there being a vigilante. He wasn't out there trying to fight crime or shoot bad guys or anything along that line. He was doing something on his regular day-to-day operations of his life that he has to take care of. So many people are turning it into a race issue, and it has nothing to do with race. This man was dangerous on the subway, men, women, and children. Daniel Penny did something heroic, and in my opinion, if I'm sure he would do it all over again if it ever happened again. That's the type of person is. That's what Marines do. So, as far as that goes, I totally support him. I'm proud. There's the few and the proud, and guess what? I'll tell you what. Not a single person that's Marines going to disagree with me on this one, and that is Daniel Penny did exactly what he was supposed to do, foreign and domestic. And what do people expect him to do? Just let this guy start assaulting people? He's already yelling, making life threats and all sorts of crap like that. Daniel Penny was trying to take care of the situation. So I'm so glad that he got found innocent, and the other charges kept going to a deadlock. Couldn't do that one, and he is acquitted and can move on in life. But that be a lesson. It's good that there's actually people out there like Daniel Penny who have a backbone and a spine. Look at it this way. I'm sorry, but if I was on that train and I didn't do something about it, I see somebody else doing it or whatnot, I would feel like a coward. In this situation especially. The circumstance here. And men that serve our country, it's the mentality they have, and it takes a special mentality to do it because it's a job nobody wants to do but does have to be done. And men like Daniel Penny, those are the type of men that you want doing it. His platoon sergeant said nothing but good stuff about him. His record was impeccable. They had his DD-214, everything along that line. The poor guy, unfortunately, although he did a good thing in my opinion, the rest of his life's going to be a little bit difficult because now everybody's going to go after him, and he's a bad guy. They'll celebrate this. This dude that goes and shoots a healthcare CEO, health insurance CEO, and think he's some sort of hero, but you have a man who was protecting other people on a train. And mind you, he didn't have weapons when he was doing anything either. It's not like Daniel Penny was out there looking to go start a fight. Daniel Penny was on that, just a regular person doing regular people do every day, commuting somewhere. So, in comparison to that, Daniel Penny's story is not even close, and yet there's such huge hypocrisies. Huge hypocrisies. Now, the fact that it gets turned into a race situation is ridiculous. He had, five men, 7 women on the jury, found him innocent, and that's it. That's how our system works. This Luigi guy, he's going to go through the same thing, see how the system plays out and works. I think he's a little bit more screwed because his circumstances were all premeditated for the most part, according to what the evidence looks like in the alleged homicide he committed. But Daniel Penny did not do what he did out of race, nothing to do with race. Daniel Penny did not do anything that he did out of being the aggressor in the beginning. And Daniel Penny didn't have weapons. I mean, if somebody's threatening to kill you over and over and say they're not scared to go to prison for life, that's grounds right there to neutralize that danger, you know, especially on a train. Because where are people going to go if they're on a train? If he doesn't, Daniel Penny didn't know if this guy was carrying a firearm or if this guy had knives or an ice pick or whatever. But he still stepped up and took care of it, and that's what Marines do. So good for him. And anybody that has an issue with that, tough shit, because Daniel Penny's a badass. God bless him, man. I'm so glad he gets to go home and have the holiday with his family after having to go through all this crap being a good citizen. So, you know, I mean, one good hoorah, Devil Dog. I mean, that's awesome. You make us proud. That's the type of mentality it takes to be a Marine, is what he did. So, you know, there you have it on that one, guys. Suppressor footage coming out. And I'm stoked because suppressors are hella fun. The science behind them is awesome, and getting people to understand how they function, what they actually do, opposed to what Hollywood shows. You know, I'm going to enjoy this because I think you guys will get a kick out of. And you know, if you don't have suppressors or whatnot, you might want to consider getting them. They're hella fun to shoot with. But you know, it's a lot of people, like I said yesterday, they just think all it is, you know, you have some tubing and a guy's welding a bunch of washers in it. And that's not the case. I mean, you know, you break it down, you have different baffle designs. What a suppressor does is it slows down the gases that are exiting the muzzle of the firearm, because those are what are making the loud noise when you shoot. That gas gets slowed down, it gets redirected. It also helps with recoil. Suppressors, you know, of course, with the sound, it's going to lower the sound decibels, definitely. But, I mean, how it goes with the baffles is what's always been really interesting to me about it, because sound travels, gas travels, you know, and how physical things travel, and then, of course, water and so forth, all these different elements and types of stuff. Suppressors, and not a lot of people on here talk about shooting suppressors this way. I don't do it very often because I don't really like doing so, but you can actually shoot wet. Basically, there's types of grease or product you can put inside your silencer baffles and stuff like that. So when you shoot, it really slows things down and it gums it up. Problem is, though, is it can also fuck up your suppressors a lot faster, and they don't last as long, because that is the one thing. I have gone through a suppressor before, overshooting them or whatnot. They start to, you know, after a while, warp, move around so much because they're, I mean, just depending on the materials. But what's interesting, you know, you shoot wet. Another form of shooting wet is people actually put water in it. Water works great. But the other thing about water, and this is one thing that a lot of people tend to forget when you shoot wet like that with a suppressor, is you're going to have all that hot steam. And if, depending on the type of suppressor you have where it's connected to your gun, some of them have little holes, you know, for the gas to exit on the back of them. So they're not all exactly like redirected to the front. You'll have steam, you'll have to check out the steam is actually blowing out of the gun. And the only bad thing about that is your face is like right in the line with that. Now, I know one guy who he did it with some petroleum jelly, thinking that would be a good idea. You guys know as well as I do how hot the barrels on your guns get. That stuff liquefied, and that stuff actually, after a while, shot some hot grease out the back of one of those little holes, burned the shit out of his face. So, I mean, it's something you have to kind of be careful with when you're tinkering. You know, as far as like baffles go and whatnot, the most common ones you'll see are a K baffle, and that's just basically like how a K is shaped or whatnot. That's the more common one. It's easier. It's pretty much the oldest design, you know, as far as silencer baffles go. There's a lot of other ones we'll get into. They're a little bit more difficult to explain because I can't show suppressors on a live on YouTube. I need to get into that Rumble and start doing that shit and get that figured out. But yeah, no, I'm excited. You know, get people educated on suppressors. Suppressors don't make a gun any more dangerous, and that's the misconception. Because it still makes noise, even if it doesn't make a lot of noise. It does not. I mean, if somebody's going to murder somebody and they don't have a suppressor, they're still going to murder somebody regardless. You know, and so when I think about it, like there's this big thing about suppressors making guns even more evil and dangerous and whatever. Well, let's see. Your accuracy isn't going to be as good because it's slowing down all the gases and the noise. So there's that scientific fact right there. It does hide the muzzle flash, which is a good thing. Of course, the sound decimals are down a little bit, but I mean, for the most part, though, if somebody's going to murder somebody, they're going to murder somebody. I mean, would people be bitching about suppressors if this, I mean, like this dude, for instance, let's say he went and got a Chicago cutlery knife set, butcher knife set, and he goes out and he still commits murder with it. It doesn't matter. I don't care that he used knives. The man committed murder. And so, I mean, think about it. How ridiculous, backward ass, and silly is it that the news, the number one thing they love to say in this Luigi case is, he had a 3D printed ghost gun with a silencer. Well, 3D printed ghost guns. Ghost gun's the dumbest term. It's just ridiculous. People are going to get guns regardless, and this is why it makes perfect sense that guns are not banned, because if they are banned, people are still going to get them anyways. Look at this dude. He wasn't some underworld figure or criminal or arms trafficker or anything like that. He's, as far as credentials goes, you know, comes from a higher end in life and society and pretty privileged from what it seems like. We don't really know the full truth through the extent of it. But I mean, so you look at it this way, smart guy too. And I'm sure he could have gone and bought a firearm legally anywhere he wanted to. I have no doubt in my mind. However, he chose to go with the either P80 or 3D printed gun, the suppressor, all that stuff, and somebody got murdered. So look at it this way. A legal gun didn't murder somebody. An illegal gun murdered somebody. Criminals will have illegal guns. So why can't citizens have legal guns to defend themselves from illegal guns? It's just stupid as hell. I feel like I have this argument every goddamn week. But, you know, it's just get educated. I'll be presenting all the facts with suppressors and DIY firearms. I've got a few polymer 80s, you know, in fact, and some 1911 frames and stuff that I still haven't done. I bought back way when. But, you know, it's just really, to be honest with you, with 3D printers or with technology nowadays, people are able to have access and make more things, you know, and create that. And I think it's great because, you know, it's cool to think that you can make your own gun parts, for instance. Most of the ones I've seen, I think, are ugly as hell that people have been making. But, you know, each their own. I mean, it's still cool they're doing it. I mean, that's one thing I enjoy about doing some of these like P80 builds or 1911 builds or whatever. You know, there's a full fun aspect to it. But like the science behind everything is what I really enjoy when it comes to suppressors, because there's so much myth. We'll debunk it, let people decide for themselves how dangerous they really are. Other than that, guys, that's going to be pretty much my rant for this Saturday. Again, Daniel Penny, God bless, man. I'm glad you get to go home. I'm glad the guy gets to be around his family. You know, I feel bad for him because the rest of his life he's going to have people hating him and calling him a racist, even though it had nothing to do with race what he did. Just a Marine doing what Marines do. So you guys all enjoy your Saturday with your family and friends. I got Christmas shopping to still go do, unfortunately. So you guys take care now.